Welcome back to ICAN. Today we're interviewing Officer Ben Miller from the Watertown Police Department on marijuana. Hi Ben, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, of course, no problem. Today we're going to learn about marijuana and cannabis, especially since we've been going through some legal differences and other states have been legalizing marijuana and Wisconsin has not yet, but we'll explain things that have to do with cannabis and marijuana.
What kind of work did you do while working at the Drug Task Force?
So while at the Drug Task Force, I mainly did controlled buys, search warrants, so we were investigating controlled substances and uses and stuff like that. And we'll kind of get those questions that I have for you for later in the presentation. I put down like when to ask.
Oh, sorry.
Does that make sense? Yep, no, that's good. So I'm Officer Ben Miller. I've been here at Watertown for, now it's just now 8 years. I worked undercover for 4 years at Jefferson County Drug Task Force, where, like I said, I did controlled buys and we bought drugs and chased drug dealers and such like that. I'm also a certified drug recognition expert, which basically means that I have specialized training on drugs and how they affect your body, mainly for driving purposes. But we will get into that later when we get into what cannabis does to your body. All right, so first, some of the things with Wisconsin law. So in the 2018 Farm Bill, what they made illegal, or I should say what they made legal, is any marijuana product that contains less than 0.3% delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC. And THC, or delta-9 THC, is a primary psychedelic. It's what gets you high off of marijuana. And the way that we regulate that is the USDA, so a federal agency, tests all hemp fields within the state of Wisconsin, and they test it to make sure that it's below that 0.3%. So there's a hemp field right on Highway X right outside of town. That's one of the fields that they test. If it's above a 0.3%, then they have to burn down the whole field. So the farmers obviously want to keep it well under that. However, after it leaves the farmer's field, it is no longer regulated. No one tests it, no one makes sure that it's good to go. So CBD, which is cannabinol, does not have the delta-9 or the psychedelic, basically what gets you high. It's prescribed as an anti-seizure medication, so that's like the medical use. It's also kind of, right now it's that cure-all drug, so it reminds me of the old Western videos where they bring out the bottle of cure-all and it can cure everything. So CBD's been it's used for anxiety, pain, a bunch of other uses, people use it for, I know dogs, I was recommended for my dog for her haircut to take some CBD to calm her down while getting their hair cut. So it's kind of being used for a lot of different things, but the only thing that's really scientifically or medically approved is for anti-seizures right now, is CBD.
Okay, is marijuana delta-9 concentrations increasing?
Yes. So back in, I guess you want to say the 70s, 80s, marijuana, a normal marijuana plant or joint, would on average have between 3 to 6% delta-9 concentration. And marijuana currently is closer to the 30% delta-9 concentration. Yes. So the marijuana nowadays is more potent in getting you higher for I guess more bang for your buck, if you want to call it that way. Some other things some of the other laws that regard marijuana is operating while intoxicated. So if you have any amount of delta-9 THC in your system, you can be arrested and prosecuted for operating while intoxicated. A normal marijuana high usually lasts 2 to 3 hours, but you can still have it and show symptoms for a whole day for 24 hours. Also, if you're a daily user, delta-9 will stay in your system for up to 20 days even if you stopped. So you could have it within your system, be technically arrested for operating while intoxicated, and not have smoked the joint in a week. So how old do you have to be in order to buy delta-9?
That's a good question. How old are you?
Currently, it is not regulated at all, so there is no age restriction.
That's scary.
Yeah. So anyone of any age can go into a smoke shop, gas station, anywhere else and buy it. And the Clean Air Act, so that's like the act that prevented us from smoking cigarettes in bars and any other public places, that only pertains to tobacco. So technically right now you could buy CBD or another type of cannabis product and smoke it in a school. You can smoke it in a government building. You can smoke it in a bar. It's not regulated as of right now.
Wow. Are there laws in motion to change that?
Not currently. I think everything's kind of on pause because we are pushing towards a legalization of marijuana.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in this limbo phase of waiting for marijuana to be legal. So kind of like imagine it like alcohol. Once marijuana becomes legal, then we'll regulate it more and say like, oh, you have to be 21 to purchase it and whatever else. Until that day, because it's marijuana, Delta 9's illegal, so you can't smoke Delta 9 at a bar because Delta 9's illegal. So until the day that becomes legalized fully, I don't think we're gonna pass laws to regulate the other things. The only thing that like the city of Watertown does have is anti-vaping.
Okay.
So you can't vape within any public building, which would cover cannabis vaping.
Which I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Still
vaping.
in the bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen a big increase of children actually having problems with this?
Not like children, teenagers, yes, for sure. Teenage use has definitely risen. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they do a survey, and I'm sure you've seen it with the Drug Free Coalition. They have the survey,
Right.
and marijuana use has increased for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's legal at both ends of the state.
Yes. Yep. So there's no age restriction on it right now.
Wow, that's scary.
Yep. So the different types of cannabis, it seems like every few months a new one comes out. But currently the main ones are Delta 8. Okay, let me go. Illegal is Delta 9, right? You understand that? You can't have any Delta 9. So the legal stuff is Delta 8. There's THC 0, THCA. There's a bunch of different THCP. I can't think of all the other ones, but those are the main ones right now that are legal. The only thing that really matters, though, is the concentration of Delta 9 THC, which it can't be below 0.3%.
That's how they can get away with it, selling it at gas stations and et cetera.
Yes, as long as it's not Delta 9, or if it even is Delta 9, if it's under that 0.3%, then it's legal.
Huh.
Yeah. One thing is THCA is kind of a newer one, but it actually, after you heat it up, it becomes Delta 9. It's like a precursor to Delta 9. So as soon as you heat up THCA, it becomes Delta 9, which then is the illegal substance. So as soon as you heat it up, which you have to in order to smoke it or vape it or any other way to use it, you have to actually heat it up. So once that becomes that, now it's illegal in your system. So you purchase it legally and then use it illegally.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of, it reminds me of like the fireworks laws, you know, like people can sell fireworks, but then you can't shoot them.
Yeah.
So that's what it reminds me of.
Where can you buy legal cannabis?
Legal cannabis you can buy, well, right now it's being pushed real bad at gas stations.
Yes,
so you pretty much go in any Quick Trip, BP, Shell, and there's like whole cases full of all these different cannabis products, and there's so many of them. It's kind of crazy because then it's like, what are you even buying? Because you don't know until you read about it. Otherwise, smoke shops. Those are probably the two main places that people purchase it: smoke shops or at gas stations. Yeah, so these are some of the things that actually the Elks Club, you guys, helped me purchase. So I don't know how well they were going to be able to zoom on this, so that's why we got the pictures up. But as you can see, I went to local smoke shops in our area, and I purchased everything here at different smoke shops, either in the city of Watertown. Watertown and Fort Atkinson are the only two cities I went to and purchased this from. But as you can see, like, this is what I got. There's no markings on it.
Wow.
And that is this was Delta 8.
Okay.
And then this is some gummies that I purchased that were Delta 8.
Okay.
Go to the next slide so you can see. Yep, so these are Delta 8 gummies. So these are edibles that are like covered in sugar. This is that THCA stuff that I was talking about.
And that you burn?
This you have to burn in order to
Okay. And
use
then
it.
and then it's
And
illegal.
then once you burn it, it turns into Delta 9, which makes
That
it
makes no
illegal.
sense to me. Why would you?
Well, it's because it's a loophole. So it all started off with first CBD,
Mm-hmm.
and then they went from CBD, scientists and stuff, went to Delta 8 because it's technically legal. And Delta 8 is pretty much Delta 9. It just has a less of a psychedelic,
Okay.
so it still gets you high, but not as high.
Okay.
And then they just keep on changing their chemical compounds and then figuring out how to
Kind of like what they do with
skirt the law.
fentanyl.
Yep. They keep changing. They change one oxygen molecule on it, and now it's legal. This is a vape device that I purchased.
Okay.
One of the tricks that you can use to tell if it's THC or a nicotine vape, you can see that bubble at the bottom there,
Kind of, yeah.
like that little air bubble. Yes.
Yeah.
So if it's a nicotine one, that would flow easily,
Okay. it's
like
light-
like water.
Okay.
You know, like a bubble would go up and down. As you can see, that bubble's like not moving at all.
So that's
That I can tell then is a cannabis vape compared to a nicotine
it's
vape.
a heavier.
Yes, it's like
molecule.
yes, it's like honey. It's like the
Okay.
consistency of honey compared to nicotine ones, which are like the consistency of water. So if you have kids or whatever and you want to know which one they're vaping, that's an easy way
Well,
to
and there's
tell.
so many different vaping things now that it look like pens, and
Yeah, there's so many different devices.
they're still majorly targeting kids with all of this.
Yes, for sure. This is some more. This is Delta 9.
Okay.
And the way they can get rid of that or go through that, so you can see each gummy has 7,500 milligrams, but then the Delta 9 concentration is 250 milligrams. So if you do 250 divided by that, you get 0.3. So that's how it's allowed.
Oh, wow.
And then this is a Delta 9 gummy. I'll let you take it out here. So I put up my pen next to it so you can kind of see the size of it. What's crazy is that this gummy, can you see on the bottom of this bottom there? What does that say?
3 servings per gummy,
Yes.
but it's packaged for like one.
So this is one gummy, but
But
you're
it's
only
3
supposed to eat a third of this
Okay.
per use.
Wow.
Who's going to eat only a third of that
Yeah.
at a time? Pretty much no one. Everyone's just going to eat the whole gummy. So that's
And
the
now
stuff
those
that I
gummies
bought.
are legal for anybody to buy, any age.
I bought these. Any age can go into the. I bought these all at. I don't think I bought any at a gas station. I bought all at smoke shops.
Okay.
I bought it at 3 different smoke shops, 2 in Watertown and 1 in Fort Atkinson. And yeah.
And all of those are
These
okay.
are all legal. Yep. These I can walk around with it. And do whatever I want with it. You can
Wow.
buy it legally. That's kind of where we're at right now.
So how can, you told me kind of how you can tell the difference between the legal and illegal.
Yes. So I told you the different rules, right?
Right,
The
yeah.
0.3 and what's yes. But then, yeah, I think I have the question on there now. Maybe not.
Okay.
How can an officer like tell this is legal?
Yeah.
There's no markings on
Right.
it, nothing at all, right? So this stuff an officer can tell
Right.
fairly easily, right? It's packaged like it's supposed to be coming from a reputable manufacturer. It says right on, like on this, it says Delta 8 right there. But something like this, we wouldn't be able to tell the difference on a street, on a traffic stop. It looks like marijuana, it smells like marijuana, probably tastes like it, but I don't know. But
Well, let's hope you don't.
yeah, I know. But it looks and smells the same as regular marijuana, so how are we going to be able to tell the difference? And to be honest, it's pretty hard, and almost we can't.
So what do you do at a
So-
traffic stop if you find somebody with that?
Yeah, we have to investigate further.
Okay.
Figure out, okay, where did you say you bought this from? And then if usually people will either, if they're being honest, they're going to tell us exactly where they bought it from, and then we can get video hopefully from that place to prove that they bought it from a legal manufacturer. Otherwise, we do have test kits that can tell the difference between that test Delta 9 and then CBD. So if there's Delta 9 in it, we'll be able to tell off of those test kits.
And do you carry those with you all the time when you're out on the street?
Not all the time, usually on the street. But again, most of the time we go off the packaging.
Okay.
So I have to make a instant decision, right?
Yeah.
To do whatever I have to do. And then I'll test it later usually, and then figure it out for sure.
With the laws that the way they are, do you find it harder to actually make a arrest for assumption?
For like operating while intoxicated? Yes, it's difficult because it's hard for an officer to tell when somebody's high on drugs. It's pretty easy for an officer to tell when somebody's drunk on alcohol, mainly because it's so relevant, right? Like I've been drunk, I've been around drunk people. However, I've never been high. I haven't been around high people. So it's harder for an officer, a layman officer, to be able to figure out if someone's high on a drug or not.
So it's a lot based on judgment of what you see, how you, if you know these people, and
It's a totality of the circumstances. It is difficult. But so you can see here some packaging that's not used, right, by a reputable manufacturer that has it. So that's kind of one of the biggest baselines that we use. Is it in freezer vacuum sealed bags, or is it, like I said, in these nice things? If a semi truck has a load of hemp that they're hauling, they're going to have the proper paperwork pretty much right out the window as soon as they get pulled over, because they don't want to get arrested for 500 pounds of weed in their truck. Yes.
Yeah, that just blows my mind, that the way they target kids with this stuff.
Yep. So all the stuff on the bottom there, those are all gummies that all have marijuana in it. They basically look the same thing as the normal packaging of candy and such. Here's some of the vape cartridges, Sour Patch, Runts. Like those are obviously all candies, and obviously for younger people, kids and teenagers.
Now, one of these containers, how many are in there?
Are you, like, how many Skittles are in a Skittles bag?
Yeah.
I don't know off the top
I
of my
mean,
head.
what is
And I don't know what the
a serving?
Yeah, usually it's like a Cheeto.
Okay.
So you'd have to look at the bag to know for sure. But
So have you
there's several
found
servings.
more children overdosing because of these?
Not really.
No. Okay.
We've had a couple cases where kids. So marijuana, there hasn't been any linked overdose deaths to marijuana use.
Okay.
There have been other complications, obviously.
Such as?
Well, like we'll show it to you later, but there's a guy in Colorado that took too much marijuana and then went on a psychotic break and jumped off a roof and then died. We had a child, not a child, like I can't remember, it was 4 or 5 year old, ate a gummy that was left out by a grandparent actually, and then had to be hospitalized because his heart rate was over, I think it was over 150 beats per minute.
Wow.
So things like that, complications. There's also lung, obviously if you're vaping or smoking, there's going to be problems that happen with the lungs and such like that. But no one's like straight up overdose from taking too much marijuana.
Okay.
I mean, if you can overdose on water by drinking too much, then you probably could use too much and then die.
Right.
But you would have to use an ungodly amount. So, yeah, we haven't really found too many kids overdosing.
Okay.
But there are when you're high, you do stuff.
Stupid stuff.
Yes, exactly. So same as drinking alcohol,
Yep.
you make stupid decisions if you're drinking, so you're going to do the same on marijuana. just a little bit different. So this was just about a case that they, in Waukesha County, so our next door neighbor, they were making THC carts right in somebody's house.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the pot death.
Okay.
Again, it's kind of like it was that you buy a marijuana cookie and the serving size is 1/4 of the cookie. Well,
And he ate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to eat a whole cookie.
Yes, exactly. Just like we were talking about with that gummy.
Yeah.
You're only supposed to eat 1/3 of that, but then you eat the whole thing. And then he started having a psychotic break. Basically, you can get super paranoid on marijuana.
Okay.
So then he thought people were like following him and stuff, and then he jumped off
Wow.
a roof. Well, he actually used it. He used only 1/4 of it. Well, when you eat marijuana, it can take 20 to 30 minutes before you start getting the high off of it, because it has to go to your stomach, and then it has to go into your intestines, and then from the intestines into your bloodstream, and then go up to your brain. So it takes like 20 to 30 minutes. While smoking it, it's almost instant.
Right.
So he wasn't feeling anything, so he thought it wasn't affecting him, so he ate the rest of the cookie. And then basically 20 minutes later, then everything hit at once, and then he
So
jumped
he
off the
did
building.
know what he was ingesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. This is THC dabs, so another way that they do it. It's basically, these things are between 80, I would say at a low end, 80% Delta-9, and they have all the way up to 100% Delta-9 concentration. So it's a very potent, very small amount needed in order to get you high. As you can see, like, the guy's holding how many? 1, 2, 3. He's got seven doses.
And those are not legal.
These are the Delta-9 ones are not legal. Yes,
Okay.
For sure.
Story, a quiet neighborhood and ordinary street rocked by an explosion. The Martin County Sheriff is confirming it was butane hash oil that ignited it. My colleague News Channel 5 anchor Michael Williams is live with an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the evidence investigators pulled from the scene. Michael?
Good evening, Kelly, from outside the Martin County Sheriff's Office. The suspect here, 27-year-old Kevin Hubbard, reportedly told investigators when they arrived at the scene of the explosion at his townhome on Southwest Sunset Trace Circle that he'd been cooking creme brulee. Well, it's not the kind you'll find on the restaurant menu at your favorite local diner, not unless the recipe, according to investigators, includes marijuana and butane and is powerful enough when exploded to knock the pictures off walls in a nearby townhome. All of that, they said, happened. Now the suspect being treated for serious burns in a Miami hospital. And once again, as in the special report we showed you the other night, growing concerns about these hash oil labs. Look at the footage from one lab that did a demonstration about the dangers of what happens when butane vapors, part of the cooking process here, get out of control, as can so easily happen. A flashover, a fire, an explosion, extraordinarily dangerous, they say, and we saw it again last night. The third one in Martin County over the last year, another one in Boca Raton last year as well, a growing worry here. And a little while ago, I had the Martin County Sheriff, William Snyder, who joined me and gave me a look close up at the evidence they pulled from the townhome last night.
What you're looking at right here would be all the products necessary to make butane hash oil, or BHO as it's called on the streets.
This is what was in that house last night.
Right, this was recovered from the house last night where we had the small explosion and the fire.
Mm-hmm. All the raw ingredients. We've got all the marijuana here. We've got the butane canisters. Sort of take us through it.
Right, the pipe. So the marijuana goes in there, and then it's there's a way they add the butane.
They mix it with the butane.
Yeah.
And basically they're trying to cook the oils out of the marijuana to create a very powerful form of marijuana, a waxy substance,
right,
far more powerful than ordinary pot.
And the danger to the community is twofold. Number one, the production of the hash oil is extremely dangerous process. What you have is the potential for an explosion and a fire. In this case, we had both. If marijuana is dangerous for young people, if the THC is bad for their brains, their motivation, this would be 4 times as dangerous and 4 times as harmful. If your concept is that marijuana is not that big of a deal and that it should be left up to the individual to decide, keep in mind that marijuana is the beginning stages of what becomes the BHO, the butane hash oils.
We said it in our special report on butane hash oil labs on Monday night, and again we repeat it now. There is no neighborhood that's off limits from this potential problem. How can you help? Be on the lookout for strange comings and goings, the sheriff said. Also, butane canisters lying around, obviously, the pungent smell that the mix of marijuana and butane can create. Anything you think might be suspicious, they urge you to call the Martin County Sheriffs or your local authorities wherever you live in our 5-county community as they continue to monitor this growing worry and threat. Reporting live from the Martin County Sheriff's Office, I'm Michael Williams, WPTV News Channel 5.
And then here's some more on how you can make that hash or that THC dabs. And this is how they make it. This is mainly in Colorado where it's like legal. But they're also making it like this here.
So I'm going to give you an idea start to finish from the little 6-inch clones all the way to the finished product here.
Let's do it.
Yep, let's go. All right, this way, we'll start out back. So this is my shop. My dad and I built this 4 years ago, 2017.
Wow, this is a serious get-up.
12 by 24.
Ooh, I can smell them. I can smell them. Ah! You built all this out yourself, the lamps, everything.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Wow.
My buddy's a commercial electrician. He was growing for 10 years before we set up my room. All right, so we're gonna take our food processor here. It's all that
all the
keef,
wax.
all that.
I already know.
So grinding it up, you fit more in the tube, it flows better.
Yes, sir. The butane flows better.
Exactly. A little back and forth, make sure you get all those leaves on top. So stainless steel tube, that way we don't have to worry about rust when all the liquid's flowing through there.
Good call.
I use 6 filters, each filter's 50 microns. So that way we're making sure it's a clean product.
A cleaner product,
exactly.
That's right.
Even with all these contraptions, Ellie is still running a major risk. He's open blasting with liquid butane to extract the THC compound.
So the benefit of this is I can do 3 tubes at a time. Indoors, it'd be super risky because that butane's evaporating, it's in the atmosphere. In the 10 years I've been doing it outside, I haven't had one fuck up ever, as far as that's concerned.
So do you know anybody who has blown themselves up?
I don't personally, but you see stories in the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Stockton last year, there was a pretty big explosion. So give them a little shake, put them on here. And here's the fun part. So once again, there is vapors coming off.
I see it.
I try not to have any electronics around. Honestly, I'll leave my lighter inside just in case, you know? I don't want to fuck up one time, pull out my lighter type of deal.
I can definitely see it.
Butane is heavier than oxygen.
Yeah,
so it drops. Exactly. A lot of people, you know, they're not paying attention. It'll fill up the room and get just high enough to hit that outlet, and that's when the explosion will happen. So we're literally just freezing it right now. You can actually see the frost as it works its way down the tube there.
I do see it.
And I'm sitting here holding the cans, reading the flammable sign right now on the back of the can.
It's already starting to drip.
Now, probably, I would say 90% of that is butane.
Okay.
Literally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's all liquid butane.
Okay.
By the time it evaporates, it'll just be a small layer on the bottom.
Got you. Thin.
Yep. Give you an idea. Now we're gonna let this sit outside for the next few hours, let it evaporate nice and safely out here. I'll show you the next step.
The process to extract the honey oil is intense. It's dangerous and time-consuming to get all but the trace amounts of butane out. But the payoff is big. Every batch Elliot brews will bring in about $1,600.
So I try to remain under the radar. You know, I try to keep everything discreet. So did this little contraption here.
Yo.
This way I make money while I sleep too, if you know what I mean.
Hell yeah.
That's a degassing oven. I actually have a slab right here, and I get to show you what's called the muffin. So here's the fun part. This is gonna blow up from all the butane actually in it. It's gonna puff up like a muffin.
The blob!
There it is, the blob!
Yo!
So commonly referred as the muffin. Right now I stopped the pressure so it didn't hit all the walls.
Yeah.
Now I can drop it a little bit there.
Yeah.
This goes back down.
I noticed you cut this oven into the wall.
Yes, I did. So there's a vacuum pump.
Wow, you thought of everything, bro.
I tried, bro. I try to be discreet as possible.
Yo.
Here. So that's for noise. As you can see, the smoke's coming off.
This feels very brick and mortar.
Oh, it is. It is. It's pure farm to fork too. You know, that's what Sacramento's known for. So this is good enough for me. You know, I provide for myself. I got a new truck in the driveway.
Yes, sir.
I'm not out here trying to get rich, bro. I'm just making a living for myself, providing a good product for my friends, family. As far as money is concerned, though, it all comes down to bravery in this world. The braver you are, the more money you're gonna make in the weed game. That's for sure.
Would you ever go legal?
You know, I'd like to, but basically it's a couple $100,000 to go legal, and that's more than I make in a year. So I don't know how I'd do that, honestly.
Any cases in our area of people making butane hash?
Yes, yep, just like in that video that you showed, or that I showed you, we've had, I think, 3 cases within Jefferson County of people making the butane hash, which obviously is fairly dangerous. They can blow up and such like that. So you gotta be very careful doing that.
And how did you discover they were making this?
We did a search warrant,
Okay.
and then we didn't know they were making it. We just knew that they were selling marijuana.
Oh, so it was.
And then we did a search warrant in
happenstance.
their house, and then we find evidence, just like in that video, of PVC pipes that they were using, butane, empty butane, and then pans that they were cooking it in, or drying it in, I should say.
Okay.
So same things like in that video, and it was just in their house, and then we realized that they're making it there.
So what are they looking at if once it goes to court? Would it be?
Like what type of crimes
what
are
would
we
they
charging?
be charged with?
Oh, it's manufacture of, I mean, right now, Schedule 1 drug. Marijuana's a Schedule 1, so it's manufacture of drugs.
So what are they looking at for time-wise? Do they go to the jail? Do they?
There's so many different factors that go involved in that it's hard to say, because is this their first time ever being arrested? Then they're not probably looking at hardly any time.
Okay.
If it's like their 10th time being arrested and charged with the same crime, then they're probably going to look at a few years. I don't know off the top of my head what the maximum prison times are, but it's a felony level crime, so it's at least a year in prison.
And do you think there's a big problem with this in our area?
Making butane hash? Not so much making it. It's become so readily available from other states that are legal that we don't really have to.
But are you having issues of it being sold here? And
marijuana is the #1 drug in the whole state.
But I mean, the butane hash itself, is it?
No, I don't see people making it that much, because you can just buy butane hash from other people. So dabs, yes, are definitely fairly prevalent. It's easier to hide from your parents because it doesn't have, like this has a very strong odor. The plant has a very strong odor, and it's hard to hide.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, hash you can kind of use like a vape device, so it doesn't have as strong of an odor. You don't have to smoke a whole blunt. It takes you, instead of the 5 minutes to smoke like a cigarette, it takes you seconds to take 1 or 2 puffs off of it.
Because it's so much more concentrated?
Yep. So you only have to take a very small amount, and you don't have to use. Same with like a vape.
Okay.
Like it's so much easier to hide using that from parents or adults than it is to hide a cigarette usage, right? If you want to use nicotine. So they just do that instead. But yeah, so this is just some pictures from, I think, some of our cases. So this just shows the reason why marijuana is still a big deal is because the other crimes that go along with drug dealing, right? Gun violence. That's why we got guns that
human
are
trafficking.
And this was an indoor grow that we found just off of Highway D.
Wow.
What is it? How many plants? 95 plants.
Wow. And all those guns.
Yep, a bunch of guns. And then one plant produces on average half a pound of marijuana.
Wow. And
then half a pound, like a normal joint is a half gram. So that means one plant produces about 454 doses.
Wow.
And then one dose gets you like 2 to 3 hours.
No wonder it's such a big business.
These are from a search warrant here in town. So you can see the hashed stuff up top there, and they call that shatter. It's still like kind of the same thing, it just has a different consistency.
Okay.
These are freezer, vacuum sealed bags. All the money that we see is from that house, and more marijuana just in giant bags sitting around. Yeah. So the way, go ahead.
How does illegal marijuana get to our area?
So very rarely is it like this, where it's made here anymore, like
So
grown
it's
inside
not
houses.
made here much.
No. So this person was actually was probably either the largest or one of the largest suppliers in our county. Would just fly it in their luggage.
Wow.
They just put it on there, put like that whole bag there, this whole bag. He just would put it underneath the plane, just put it in his check-on,
And
then just bring.
they wouldn't find it? I mean, it wouldn't.
I know, it's crazy. It's like I can't get a pair of fingernail clippers on, but
Yeah.
they can just bring a whole 15 pounds of marijuana to the state.
Wow.
Yep. Because it's legally to be grown in California. So on average, you pay around $800 for a pound in California, and then you could sell that here in Wisconsin for an average of like probably like $15,000.
Wow.
So you almost double your money off of that. So it's pretty quick, easy cash. So if this guy brought 10 pounds, or wait, what did I say? It's $800, and you can sell it for like $1,500. I don't know if I said 15,000.
You said 15,000. That's
okay,
right.
it's not 15,000. Sorry, 1,500. You
wow.
buy it, buy a pound for 800, and then sell it for around 1,500.
Okay.
So if you had 10, so you're making, let's just say $700 a pound, and then if you do that by 10 pounds, you're making $7,000 easily in a month.
Yeah, wow.
So
Don't they have dogs at every airport too?
most California doesn't care
Okay.
because it's legal there, so they don't really.
Yeah. Okay.
And then if you fly first class, your luggage gets on first and is very randomly searched, and then you're also
Okay.
the first off, so very randomly.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. You can't take
I know. Yeah,
toenail clippers, but
this guy's mailing tens of pounds of marijuana. But yeah, that's mainly how it gets here, or it gets driven from one state.
yeah.
It's not like cartel type stuff where it comes from Mexico. It's
Okay.
all Colorado,
Okay.
California, just driving it or flying it straight
So it's
over.
not cartel registered.
Yeah, it's not like cartel money like it used to be, where it was coming from the southern border.
Okay.
It's all just coming from legal states that they can grow it. All right, so now we'll go into kind of what marijuana does to your body.
Okay.
We'll go into like kind of like the OWI situation, or the operating while intoxicated.
Okay.
So the training that I have for how drugs go into your body is I'm called what's a drug recognition expert. So it's basically like a month-long course. And during that course, we do evaluations on people that are high. We actually go to Milwaukee and we grab people off the street that are high and then go through evals. And you have to get all of those correct in order to pass.
Right.
So we do, again, 12 evals on real life people that we then have to call the correct type of drug that they're high on. And then that's it. Yeah, it's a rougher course than that. It sounds not that bad. So basically, how do drugs get into the body? It has to get to your brain in order to affect your body.
Right.
And in order to get to your brain, it has to enter the bloodstream. So since we're talking about cannabis, there's pretty much two ways that cannabis gets into our bodies. We either smoke /vape, or we eat it. There isn't many people snorting it. There's no people that are really injecting it.
Okay.
So it's pretty much smoked, or you eat it. If you smoke it, it goes to your lungs, and then from your lungs to your heart to your brain. So it goes very quickly. We're talking seconds before you get high off of it. If you eat it, it can take, like I said before, like 20, 30 minutes before you start getting high off of it, because it has to get through your whole system.
Now, when you use it, say like brownies or
Yep,
make
yep,
cookies,
so you're eating it.
does that change it into Delta 9? That kind of?
Well, when you make it with brownies, it's usually made with Delta 9.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the same thing as using an edible. It just probably has less concentration,
Okay.
but it would still get in your system the same amount. So this is actually from a class I took where we got people high in marijuana and then ran them through field sobriety tests like you do for an alcoholic, or not an alcoholic, but for someone that's drunk. So some of the signs that people have is they have eyelid tremors, which I'll show you here in a second. The main thing that happens for driving is you have a bad perception of time and space, and you lose your short-term memory.
Okay.
So some of the things that really matters is like, for example, without looking at this, I know where it is in space, and I can grab this without looking at it. When you're high in marijuana, it's really hard to do that, and I miss this
Right.
a lot before I have to like, oh, okay, now I can grab it. It's also hard for you to tell speeds, like, okay, I'm at a stop sign, how fast is that car coming? Can I go out in front of it now or not? So it's hard for you to be able to tell stuff like that.
So your judgment is affected a lot.
Yeah, yes, but not in the same way that alcohol is.
Okay.
Where like alcohol, you have really rough time balancing and standing, and because your muscles are relaxed on alcohol, so you get really slurred speech because your tongue is actually just relaxed, and you're kind of falling all over yourself. Marijuana doesn't do that.
Okay.
It's more of it's hard for me to tell where in space and time I am.
Okay.
So for example, like one of the tests that we do is a finger to nose test, where you have to touch the tip of your finger to the tip of your nose with your eyes closed, just like this, with your eyes closed. And most people can do this really easily, but somebody that's on marijuana will miss their nose or hit just to the side, hit to the top, something like that. And why does that matter? Well, if you only miss your brake by an inch because you're not looking at it, you can see how that would be bad. You also get dilated pupils, so it's harder for you to drive at night. And then I'll show you. So this shows eyelid tremors. So all she's doing is tilting her head back and keeping her eyes closed, and then just watch her eyelids when I play this, if I can. Here.
Yeah, actually, because it's been every single proof, I think.
But her eyelids tremor really badly, and there's nothing you can do to kind of stop that or prevent that.
Yeah, we'll show that in a little bit.
And then this is what's called rebound dilation. Let's see if this one will play. Oh, this one will play.
Oh.
So this is your pupil, and it's something that in a dark room that you do is once light is put onto your pupil, you're going to see how their eyeball has trouble adjusting to that light. Is basically what I'm doing is it's kind of imagine you're in a dark room and then I turn on the lights. And
It's the same effect.
Now your eyes are adjusting, right? Your pupils get smaller with more light, and then get bigger with less light. So basically, in simplest terms, I had you sitting in a dark room, and now I turn on the lights, and then this is what your pupil does.
All the time, while you're high.
Yeah. So you can see how it's constantly going.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have trouble adjusting to light. It's called rebound dilation.
Yeah, that would make it hard to actually do anything correctly.
Yeah, it would be hard to see. Let's let it play out.
Wow.
So these are just the top numbers in the state of Wisconsin from OWI cases.
Okay.
Drug OWIs. So the main problem with these numbers is so every time that somebody gets arrested for like operating while intoxicated, if their blood alcohol comes above a 0.08, they don't test for any drugs. So we're missing a lot of drugs and such, but it's an expensive process, so money in the end dictates it. So these are the top this is no alcohol or below a 0.08 in alcohol, and then the top 20 drugs that are in people's system while driving during operating while intoxicated cases. So people that have actually been arrested.
Naproxen.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
That's
naproxen probably has, it's probably with something else
okay.
because Aleve is not illegal.
Yeah, neither is acetaminophen or ibuprofen.
Yeah. But the number one and has been for many, many years is
THC.
THC, Delta 9, this 11-hydroxy and carboxy, that's just what Delta 9 turns into after going through like your liver a few times.
Okay.
And then this is why it's important. This guy got into an accident and killed a mother and then put her daughter into a wheelchair. And he was high on marijuana and drifted over the center line.
And this happened right in Dodge County, huh?
Yep, Dodge
Wow.
County, what year was that, 2020? I can't remember. I think it was either 2020 or 2021. But this is why it's important not to use and drive.
Yeah.
Like overall, cannabis has many things that's good about it. As me as a police officer, like a street cop, I would honestly probably rather deal with somebody that's high in marijuana than that's been drunk.
Right. Less violent.
A lot less violence, exactly. Overall, they can make more rational decisions, way more relaxed than on alcohol. But again, we can't be driving while using it, just like alcohol.
Now that all the laws have changed about legalizing marijuana, do you think that has increased problems throughout the society itself? Or?
Like if we do, like with so many states that are
Yeah.
legalizing it,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's really necessarily increased problems. There's always going to be, there's kind of like a balancing act of if you make it illegal and it stays illegal, what kind of crimes are occurring because it's illegal? So the gun violence from drug dealers, the other type of, the human trafficking type stuff that is occurring because of it. And also we as a society, or I should say as a country, we're not taxing it. So we're not getting any of the millions of dollars that is being made, actually billions and trillions of dollars that's being made off of it already.
So you think that's what is behind most of why it's being legalized, is because of the monetary value?
I think most of that's, I mean, it's definitely a huge factor, right? Because of how much money you can make off of it. But it's also to a point now where so many people are using it. As you could see, it's like the #1 drug. And really it's not dangerous like fentanyl where people are dying or becoming super addicted to it that ruins their lives forever. Marijuana, in my opinion, is at the same level as alcohol. Like, would it be sweet and nice if alcohol was also illegal? Like overall, yes, there would be so many problems that would be reduced. However, that'll never happen where it becomes illegal again.
No, it's too much ingrained in our society.
Yes. So the same type of problems will come from legalizing marijuana, but it's not necessarily it's an object. It's not evil by itself. It's how you use it. And then if you drive, or if you have to take care of your kids, but instead you're too high to take care of your kids, just like being too drunk to take care of your kids or other responsibilities. So in my opinion, in my eyes, it's at the same level as alcohol. And I'd actually rather deal with someone that's high on weed than alcohol. But the problems that'll come from it, we don't know. We don't know how many more crashes it'll cause, things like that. And if people use it responsibly, then it's the same.
That's the problem.
Same as
Nobody
alcohol.
knows how to use it responsibly. Same way with alcohol.
Yep. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say before we head out?
Nope. You got my information there.
Yep, and we'll have any other information you send us, we will put up.
Yep.
What are you looking at for the future for you?
Like, what am I?
Yeah, are you staying, I mean, I know you're no longer on the drug task
Yeah, so I'm
force.
just I'm a third shift patrol officer, and that's probably where I'll stay for a while.
And you'll keep doing this type of thing on the side?
Yep.
Well, we thank you for that.
Yep. No problem.
Hopefully keeps our kids a little bit smarter. But
Yeah.
thank you for being with us today, and I'm sure we'll have you back again.
Yep. No
You
problem.
Have a great day.
Yep.
Thanks.
No problem, Chris.
Thanks, Ben.
Yep.
We'll see you next time at ICAN.